Well, good afternoon and welcome to Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. You have reached our weekly call-in town hall and radio show on the first Thursday after a very big and surprising election day, historical day in Virginia. And we are going to talk about that historical day today on our show on Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. Before I forget, though, I want to go ahead and give you our call-in number. The number is 804-454-1366. I'm going to give you the number again in case you didn't have a pen ready. It's 804-454-1366, and you're welcome to call me. But don't wait to the last minute. I hate it when people call it the last 5 minutes because it's the final 5 minutes. We're only on for an hour, so get your call in quick. But we are going to be talking about, we're going to be debriefing what happened in the election. What does this mean for the future of Virginia? So forth and so on. And I have is a very, I know calling in today will be Dr. Clarabelle Wheeler, who is the Vice Chairwoman of the Virginia State Board of Elections, to tell us what happened technically wise on Election Day, what issues did we have. But I'm State Senator Amanda Chase, in case you missed that at the beginning, your weekly radio show host. I serve you at the state level, not to be confused with the federal level, which meets in D.C., and my office is at the state capitol in downtown Richmond. And to that, I serve all of Amelia, all of Colonial Heights, and most of Chesterfield. This is my first term in office, and I'm getting ready to complete my second year or my third session of my 4-year term. So I was not on the ballot this time, thank God. And so I'm just a very transparent person. I co-founded the Transparency Caucus, and I ran on term-limiting career politicians and returning the government back to the people. My goal is to be a representative who is transparent, accessible, and approachable. Not paid to do this show. I do it because I think it's important to stay connected to the people that I serve. I'm a Christian, conservative, Republican in that order, and I'm taking that line from Vice President Mike Pence. Kind of who I am and how I roll, and I respect all people, but that's my viewpoints, where I'm coming from. So since I've been elected in 2015, I pushed for greater transparency in government, returning power back to the people, and holding businesses accountable that maybe need to be held accountable. And I serve on 4 committees, and I'll hopefully continue to serve on these committees this coming session: health and education, transportation, local governments, and privileges and elections. And before I forget to mention it, next Thursday, I will actually not be hosting the show because I will be at a Senate Finance retreat. So we'll be talking about getting ready for session, and we'll be studying our budget, and I'll have some very interesting information when I get back. Of course, the following Thursday will be Thanksgiving. So I'm planning on spending that day with my family, as you will probably, I hope. So we'll probably have a recorded prior show that day. But then we will be back on November the 30th. And we will have a lot to talk about at that point. And hopefully some resolution over some vote counts that are still going on even to this day. So again, I'm going to give you the number for the call-in radio show today. It's 804-454-1366, and I'm going to do my best to answer your question on the show. So, as I mentioned, we have Dr. Clarabelle Wheeler, who is joining us by phone today, and let me tell you a little bit about her. She's been on our show before. She's one of the top election officials in Virginia. She is a member of the State Board of Elections, which oversees the work of local electoral boards and registrars. She was the Virginia GOP's pick for one of the 2 open positions. It's a 3-member state board, and so typically 2 members of the governor's party are appointed to 4-year terms, along with 1 member of the opposing party. And since we are in the minority, unfortunately, right now, at the executive branch level, then basically we get 1 Republican representative, and that's Dr. Clarabelle Wheeler, who lives in Albemarle County. And she is, prior to that, an orthopedic surgeon. So she's one smart lady. And Dr. Wheeler, we're so glad to have you on the phone today.
Senator Chase, it's my pleasure to be with you and your listeners. There's a lot going on in election and, unfortunately, a lot of misconceptions, and I hope we can clarify, as you know, the Code of Virginia, and you know it well. You sit on the Privileges and Elections Committee, which is, I think, of course, one of the most important committees, so we're really glad you're there.
Well, I am very thankful to be there, and I've enjoyed working with you. Tell our listeners a little bit about your role and function as the vice chairwoman of the Virginia State Board of Elections.
Well, as you said, it's a three-member board. The state electoral board is a three-member board, as are all of the local electoral boards. And they each have a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary. And the State Board of Elections hears problems and concerns that affect everyone, the entire Commonwealth of Virginia, not just individual localities. And we, over the last 3 years since I've been on the board, and this current board has met, I have to say that we have worked extremely well together. I'm not going to tell you that every vote we've ever had has been a 3-0 vote, but the majority of them have been. I think that the other two members and I try to come to resolution on issues, and we follow the code. And I'm really proud to say that. I'm pleased to say that. And
now, let me ask you, from an operational perspective, did things go better this time around than in the presidential election?
Well, I think a lot of the things that happened during the presidential election got straightened out. There are always new wrinkles in the sheet of music that happen on an election. And you think when you're doing electoral board educational seminars, and General Registrar annual meeting is in August, and they met and tried to clarify. And then you fix one problem, and everybody understands it, and then something else pops up. And so it's a continuous cycle of learning how to fix a problem. But for the most part in Virginia this year, I think we got our results reported in a timely fashion, which you and I have talked about this offline, and it's sort of funny. We all are in this instantaneous, gotta know it now world. You know, you hit the refresh button, and by golly, it's real time.
Yeah, I had a lot of people coming to me throughout the day saying, okay, where are we? Are we up? Are we down? And I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. The polls close at 7 p.m. Tell people what happens at 7 p.m. just so that they can know going forward. When do the votes get counted?
Well, 7 p.m., the door closes. If you're in line at 7, you can vote. If you're still running across the parking lot, you should have started earlier. It's 7 p.m., everybody in line votes, and after that, the polls close. And because everybody in Virginia now votes on an electronic scanning machine with a paper ballot. So you mark your paper ballot, you feed it through the scanner takes a picture, that's what scanners do, and then records your ballot, and the ballot drops into the ballot box. And so as soon as the last ballot is fed through the scanner, the chief election officer hits the bingo, close polls, print tape, and the tape comes out of the back of the machine, and you know how many ballots were cast and how many votes for each candidate in that precinct.
Now, do you have to go back and recount and reconcile the number of votes to the number of slips of paper ballots that you have?
You don't touch the ballots. The ballots on election night are locked in the ballot box in the optical scan voting machine, and they stay locked away and they don't get touched. Then they get pulled out of the ballot box because it's, a big box attached to the machine, and the election officers sort of straighten them out so they aren't just all scattered around in the box, and they put them either in pasteboard boxes or in envelopes, depending upon how big the precinct is. and those boxes are sealed. And every member of the election crew, all the election officers, sign those seals to say, yes, all of the ballots that were cast in this precinct are in these boxes. And you can't have more than 5,000 ballots, or you shouldn't have more than 5,000 people voting in any precinct, so you're probably not going to have more than 5,000 ballots. But they have to be then sealed and taken back to the registrar's office or to the clerk of court that night or the next morning.
Okay, and we come back from the break. I want to ask you, I know we were having issues with Verus, so we want to know when we come back, have those been fixed? What challenges did we face on Election Day? We'll be right back with Cut to the Chase.
Hey, I'm Kim Warburton, the Executive Director of the Pregnancy Resource Center of Metro Richmond. For over 34 years, the Pregnancy Resource Center of Metro Richmond has been a safe haven and a loving refuge to thousands of young moms and dads of the greater RVA community who need compassionate care and hope in the midst of an unplanned pregnancy. Join us for our 2017 annual gala as we share more about the ways that God is saving lives through this ministry. Stay tuned for this special invitation.
Hi, I'm JJ Jasper, inviting you to join me Thursday night, November the 16th at the Richmond Marriott for the Pregnancy Resource Center of Metro Richmond 2017 Annual Gala. As the morning on-air personality and best-selling author, I know you'll be encouraged and inspired. We'll laugh together. Plus, it's for a great cause, celebrating the important work of PRC in the Richmond area. Find out more at friendsofprcrichmond.org or call 804-673-4150.
Hey, I'm Kim Warburton, the Executive Director of the Pregnancy Resource Center of Metro Richmond. For over 34 years, the Pregnancy Resource Center of Metro Richmond has been a safe haven and a loving refuge to thousands of young moms and dads of the greater RVA community who need compassionate care and hope in the midst of an unplanned pregnancy. Join us for our 2017 annual gala as we share more about the ways that God is saving lives through this ministry. Stay tuned for this special invitation.
Hi, I'm JJ Jasper, inviting you to join me Thursday night, November the 16th at the Richmond Marriott for the Pregnancy Resource Center of Metro Richmond 2017 Annual Gala. As the morning on-air personality and best-selling author, I know you'll be encouraged and inspired. We'll laugh together. Plus, it's for a great cause, celebrating the important work of PRC in the Richmond area. Find out more at friendsofprcrichmond.org or call 804-673-4150.
Need a break from the sound bites and the talking heads? Do you want information you can actually use? Information that'll change your life for the better? Then listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del will show you how to retire in 2 to 5 years. Your age doesn't matter. Turn off the pundits and turn on the passive income. Tune in to the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Tune in to the Del Walmsley Show weekdays from noon to 1 right here on WNTW 820 The Answer, Richmond's choice for conservative talk.
Want to fly somewhere? Looking for cheap flights or cheap tickets? Then call. That's right. Call the low-cost airline travel hotline now for prices so low we can't publish them anywhere. Low Cost Airlines has all kinds of cheap travel deals. Fly domestically and save up to 75%. You can even fly internationally and save even more. Yes, fly anywhere in the world and save a lot of money on your plane tickets. We'll even save you money with cheap travel deals on hotels, rental cars, even complete travel packages. So don't book your tickets until you call us first for the absolute cheapest prices on U.S. and international airline tickets and hotels. Call right now for prices so low they can't be published. Travel experts are here 24/7 to help.
800-368-5184, 800-368-5184, 800-368-5184, 800-368-5184.
The happy make the world better, the unhappy make it worse. It is a moral obligation to act happy because you cannot inflict your bad moods on others any more than you can inflict bad body odor on others. You wash away your odor, you should wash away your mood.
Tune in to Dennis Prager, weekdays 1 to 3 p.m. here on Richmond's Choice for Conservative Talk Radio, WNTW 820 AM and 97.7 FM, The Answer.
Welcome back to Cut to the Chase with State Senator Amanda Chase and Dr. Clarabelle Wheeler, who is the Vice Chairwoman of the Virginia State Board of Elections. And obviously there was a historic sweep by Democrats this past Tuesday. Ralph Northam won by almost 9 percentage points. We were thinking it would be a lot closer, to be honest. So we were a little surprised. Before Tuesday, the Republican House enjoyed a 32-seat majority. It used to be 66 to 34, and as of 4/21, Democrats have defeated 15 Republican incumbents with 3 races decided by less than 100 votes. And it's very clear that we could be headed to recounts. And possibly at this point, we're seeing a 51 to 49 split in the House with Speaker designee Kirk Cox to serve as the leader. But we really we can't confirm any of that until it's next Monday, correct?
Correct.
So next Monday is all of the canvasses will be done, all the recounts, everything will be done, and they will certify the vote. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Very good.
That's correct.
So nice to have the doctor in the house here.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes we need them, even in the polling places. And that's why we always need more election officials. So any of your listeners out there didn't join the crew and become election officials this year, please see your registrar and sign up to be an election official for next year, because there's always somebody that gets sick at the last minute, and we need emergencies fill in, so we always have to have an extra few election officials ready to go if we need them.
And they work from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m., but they also get paid, right?
They do get paid. They do get paid. Their hours are a little bit longer than that because the polls open at 6 and the polls close at 7, so they have to be there before and after. But with the new paper ballot electronic scanning system, the results get posted fairly early. And so that goes on the State Board of Elections or the Virginia Department of Elections website, and as the results are called in from the precincts to the registrar's office, or in some cases to the clerk of court's office, but mostly the registrar, then they are typed into this website by the registrars, and within 5 minutes you've got the result from that precinct online statewide live.
And I just want to throw this out there for our listeners. If you would like to go and actually look at the numbers for Election Day, just Google Virginia State Board of Elections results, and it will take you right there. And you can see by precinct, and precinct is voting locations, and that's where you vote. So you can see the numbers. You can see by candidate how many votes were cast. Now, let me ask you, I know that during the presidential election, we were having issues with Veris, which is the IT system that basically registers people to vote and basically is the IT system for the State Board of Elections. Have all those been fixed, or are we still having issues?
Well, every once in a while we'll have a hiccup. A lot of it has been corrected, and Veris, compared to 2016, is working much better.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that. That's very good. So let's just talk about challenges on Election Day. What kind of challenges did our registrars face on Election Day?
Registrars and the election officials at the polls faced people not knowing where they were registered to vote. And that's, when you register to vote, you get a voter registration card. You can go to the state board election site, and it'll say, where am I registered? And you type in your name and address, and it'll tell you where your precinct is, where your voting place is. Both of the major political parties in Virginia will do the same. You go to whichever party you want to go and look up. You can look up where you're supposed to vote. A vote may only be cast in the precinct where the person is registered, unless they voted absentee. So absentee is absentee. But if you are registered to vote in, for instance, Precinct 101 in Albemarle County, and you show up in Precinct 302 in Chesterfield, you can't vote in Chesterfield. You're registered in Albemarle. Now, you can vote a provisional ballot, and the election official will give you a provisional ballot in Chesterfield. they'll tell you, you're registered in Albemarle, and it's 11 o'clock in the morning, and if you want to make sure your vote counts, you better get in your car and drive over to Albemarle, to Precinct 101, where you're registered to vote on the machine, done and over. The election official cannot say to you, you're in the wrong precinct. You can vote this provisional ballot, but it's not going to count. They can't say that. They can only tell you what the code says. And the Code of Virginia says you must vote in the precinct where you're registered to vote. So consequently, there were a lot of people who registered to vote this year, and that's good. We want citizens to vote because they know what they're doing and they want to choose their leaders. But there were an awful lot of people who didn't know where they were registered to vote, and they went to the wrong precinct. There were a lot of people that submitted voter registration applications but didn't fill them out correctly. There are, as you well know, because this has gone through the General Assembly, there are questions that not only the Code of Virginia but the Constitution of Virginia say you must be, and it lists 5 or 6 questions that you must answer. Those are called material questions on your registration form, and they have little asterisks by it. So, for instance, the first question on the ballot, on the registration form says, "Are you a citizen? Yes or no?" You must answer that question. The same as you must fill in your full name. You must fill in your full Social Security number. You must fill in your full address, and you must sign that application. If you submit that application either online or in a paper form and you don't fill out a material question that is deemed to be material to your application to register to vote, it has an asterisk by it, your application will be rejected by the registrar and returned to you in the Postal Service with an explanation of you didn't answer question number, whatever it was, and we can't process your application.
Now, what if it ends up being after the deadline when they get the form back? What happens at that point? Do they miss getting to register?
They miss.
Okay.
You have to be registered by the deadline.
So make sure if you all are registering to vote that you fill the form out completely. Now they can vote. They can actually go register at the DMV. Is that correct?
Absolutely. You can register online, or you can register at the DMV, or you can go to the registrar's office, or you can even call the registrar and say, "I live out here where we don't have any internet service, but I've got postal service, so would you mail me a registration form?" And the registrar will any registrar will mail you one. You have to mail it back to wherever it is that you live. But even in that case, registrars, particularly when it comes to the DMV had a problem this year, as they have somehow managed to sort voter registration applications to the wrong registrar. So the registrar in Galax may get an application that really was supposed to go to Fairfax.
All right, we're gonna go to a break here. We'll be back in about 4 minutes. Stay tuned. Cut to the chase with Senator Chase. We'll be right back.
Lately, I've been losing sleep.
Yeah, we'll be losing sleep over here this week. Just preparing for session with the Tuesday we had. We might be losing a little bit of sleep here. I'm Senator Chase here. I'm at the state level. And I think people, we were looking at exit polls and, just comments people were making, Twitter and so forth. And many people are saying that this is a referendum on President Trump. But sometimes I think that what people did not realize, we're voting on statewide offices. We are voting on, we had the House of Delegates at the state level. I'm going to go through some of the numbers here in just a minute. I'll tell you what this was and what it wasn't. But there are a lot of good people, in my opinion, that have worked in the General Assembly for many years, like Delegate Manoli Lupasi, Delegate John O'Bannon, who's actually a doctor, and of course Delegate Jimmy Massey, retired. We lost all 3 of those seats just in the greater Richmond area. There's a lot of long-time information, knowledge, and experience that we lost here in the greater Richmond area, and we were not anticipating losing those. Virginia Beach area, Northern Virginia. I'm not going to go through all of these. You can check them out if you go to the Virginia State Board of Elections, and you can see a whole list of them. We still have a recount, probably at least 4 different races. Delegate Tim Hugo's race at this point, as of today, is won by 115 votes. Delegate Roxanne Robinson was up 124 votes. Delegate Yancey is like right at 12 votes. And then Bob Thomas, who was taking former majority Speaker of the House Bill Howell's seat, has only won by 86 votes. And these are all subject to recount. So until the State Board of Elections has made this official, these are only, I mean, this could change. I mean, this could be challenged. I mean, the Democrats are bringing in these big attorneys in to try to make these recounts continue. So we'll see what happens. And in the losses here, we've lost 3 committee chairmen: Delegate Lingenfelter, Villanueva, and Rich Anderson. But it's very interesting. You know, for well over 48 years, the party of the newly elected president has lost the Virginia governorship the following year. So Virginia's reacting negatively to the president's party. Really, it's really nothing new. Of course, the single exception to that rule came when Ken Cuccinelli lost to Terry McAuliffe in 2013 by 2.5 points. And where this rule was broken at that point was due to voter frustration over remember, we had a government shutdown for which national Republicans took the blame, and then we had the corruption investigation of the sitting Republican governor. So Tuesday night was basically our 2009, the year in which we, those Republican-leaning voters, became activists. I know that's when I got involved. I prior to that, I'd vote every election, but I wasn't involved at all. I was working full time, and life was good back in those days. And then, you look at who the president is, and you think, well, I need to get involved because we're off the tracks here. That's what's happening with the Democratic Party. They are rejecting President Trump. They are outraged. People who are not normally involved with the Democratic Party got involved this time, and they organized. I know I visited about 16 different polls on Election Day, and there were tents set up where Democrats had organized and set up, and they were passing out their sample ballot, Democratic sample ballot. And I don't remember ever seeing that in the 15 years I've been working as a volunteer and so forth. So, they were very organized, and Chesterfield suffered, some losses there. Only then we did not lose large numbers of Democrats in the state house back in 2009 because it was already controlled by the House of Delegates, right? However, Tuesday, the Democratic-leaning voters came out in droves to reject our newly elected President Donald Trump. The same energizing force of the GOP base that we saw in reaction to Obama was evident in the Democrat base mobilizing against Trump. But here's a couple things that I'll tell you didn't happen. We mentioned that Gillespie in his race lost by roughly 9 percentage points, but Gillespie actually got more votes than McAuliffe did whenever McAuliffe won Virginia last time. And Gillespie received more votes than Bob McDonnell when he was elected in 2009. And in fact, Gillespie actually kept the GOP base and then added to it. So we can't say that our Republican friends did not show up or turn out. This was about the Democrats growing the universe of voters and turning them out in unprecedented numbers. This, of course, was aided by the fact that congressional Republicans seemed incapable of keeping any promises, which hampers the party's overall ability to energize marginal voters, the swing people. So we have some more insight for you when we come back. Cut to the chase with Senator Chase. We'll be right back right after the break.
Governor Terry McAuliffe thinks that the guns are killing 93 million people every day.
The problem will be over very soon because there'll be no one left to own a gun.
You know, if that's true, then the planet will be safe.
And I will hide out, and when everyone's gone, we'll have a boatload of guns.
And a clean planet.
And food to eat.
Tune in to the Lee Brothers, Fridays, 3 to 6 p.m. here on Richmond's Choice for Conservative Talk Radio, WNTW 820 AM and 97.7 FM. The Answer.
One could say that President Trump isn't quick to compliment. So when he tells J. Fred,
I'm impressed. I'm very impressed.
You know we got something cooking. It's the hottest thing on your breakfast plate.
You couldn't negotiate your way out of a brown paper bag on Halloween with a bucket of candy.
The John Frederick Show, fresh brewed every day.
All of a sudden they're starting to say, oh, wow.
Weekday morning 6 to 10 on WNTW AM 820 and the new 97.7 FM. Listen anywhere online at johnfredericksradio.com.
Attention! Sorry I'm talking a little loud because I want to reach people with a hearing problem. Do you want to hear better for just $299? Yes, not thousands, but for $299, you can hear all the sounds you've been missing for years. Hearing Help Express has been helping people hear better, selling top-quality hearing aids for over 30 years. Now's your best chance to hear better with hearing aids for only $299, plus a free 45-day home trial offer, and you don't even need to leave your home or get a hearing test. Call now to start your risk-free 45-day home trial offer. Call 888-451-2042. 888-451-2042 for free hearing help consultation. Learn how Hearing Help Express can improve the quality of your life. Visit us online now at hearinghelp.com or call 888-451-2042. 888-451-2042.
Money, 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 money. You gotta have it. When you need it, what do? If you don't have a rich uncle, call Lending Tree. With us, hundreds of banks compete for your business, so you'll get loans with competitive interest rates, and in some cases, with no closing costs. So here's the deal. If you need money, call us. Do you want to refinance your current loan? Are you 62 or older and interested in a reverse mortgage? Then call Lending Tree now. 800-470-1378. 800-470-1378. We've closed over $250 billion in loans. We know what we're doing and can help you. Call right now for a free quote. 800-470-1378. 800-470-1378. 800-470-1378. That's 800-470-1378. NMLS number 1136.
Welcome back to Cut to the Chase with State Senator Amanda Chase. You're welcome to call in at this last segment here, 804-454-1366. That's 104-454-1366. I want to thank Dr. Clarabelle Wheeler, who is the Vice Chairwoman of the Virginia State Board of Elections, for calling in today. And I did have one last question for you, Dr. Wheeler, and that would be this. Everybody always wants to know, were there any reports of concern of fraud made to the Electoral Board this time?
Let me say I'm not sure because it's a difficult determination. There were lots of people calling in. The Department of Elections and the State Board of Elections has a conference room, and this year it was in the Commissioner's office of Commissioner of the Department of Elections, and in that room we had the Commissioner, the Deputy Commissioner, an attorney from the Attorney General's office, a representative from the Republican Party or a representative from the Democrat Party. We affectionately call them the poll watchers for the Department of Elections, and I was in that room. The other two members of the Department of the State Board of Elections were other places in the building. And we heard most of the concerns that came in. People would call into the department, or they would call into their party representative saying, this is happening, that's happening. Most of what we heard, someone would call in alleging whatever they're alleging. And then, we would call the registrar, or we would call the precinct, usually the registrar, and then the registrar would call the precinct. And most of it was, okay, we can straighten that out. Or it's been misrepresented. Somebody just had part of the story, and what they needed was the complete details. For instance, somebody said the electronic poll books are down and nobody's being allowed to vote. Well, one, even if the electronic poll books are down, you can vote provisional ballots. You have to vote provisional ballots because you don't have a poll book or paper poll books.
And that actually happened.
And that actually happened. For instance, in Chesterfield County, your home district, a polling place, something, and we're not sure what, happened in the polling place, and the electronic poll book, all three of them, were turned off at approximately 5:30, give or take, 5 or 6 minutes. And we were told that the machines were not syncing. Well, in that case, you can power down the machines and then bring them back up, and they work just fine. It's a software, little problem. But what you don't do is hit the close polls button. And if you push the close polls button on the electronic poll book, it closes it. It's over. That's it. You can't put any more names into that poll book or look for any more. And that's what happened. So they went immediately to provisional ballots. So from roughly 5:30 until 7, Falling Creek and Chesterfield voted provisional ballots. That's a lot of. I hope that's a lot of provisional ballots, because in the afternoon people come home from work and they go to vote. And I don't know how many ballots, but each one of those ballots has to be reviewed by the electoral board.
No, I know one of the things that you mentioned to me is if you happen to be one of those people and you had your ID with you, they noted that on there, so you don't have to come back.
That's correct.
But
you showed your proper valid photo ID, they will mark photo ID seen, and the reason for the provisional ballot is electronic poll books not available.
Okay.
And
if
they would give you the election officer there should have given each one of those voters a piece of paper with instructions on what to do.
Perfect. Okay. So I know there are going to be people who are listening in today that are saying, I was one of those people with the provisional ballot. They want to make sure their vote counted, especially in some of these Chesterfield races where it was so close.
Very close.
They should have gotten a sheet of paper, and if for some reason they didn't, can they just call their registrar's office?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If they have any question in their mind at all about that provisional ballot, call the registrar's office, and the registrar's office will be able to tell you, yes, we have all the documentation needed, and the electoral board will look at it and it'll be okay, or no, you need to come in and bring either a copy of your valid photo ID or some other documentation that would have otherwise required a provisional ballot.
Okay, this is
So
all good
call
information.
Call the registrar's office if you got a provisional ballot and you have any doubts about whether or not you know, as a voter, how that provisional ballot is going to be handled. And there's something called the provisional ballot canvass. Each electoral board starts doing their provisional ballots yesterday, the day after the election. They run through their regular canvass to make sure that all the numbers are right, that they've been transposed from the tapes that come out of the machine onto the statement of results, onto whatever they called into the registrar's office, and they'll check all those numbers, and then they'll start doing the provisional ballots, and they'll run through them until they're through. And you have until noon on Monday if you need to bring in any kind of documentation. But again, I can't emphasize this strongly enough. If you're not sure, call your registrar's office.
Now, we have elections every year in Virginia, and we're already going to start thinking about next year's elections, which will be our U.S. Senate and our U.S. House of Representatives. What else am I missing? What's going to be up next year?
There'll probably be some local elections. There will probably be maybe Commonwealth attorneys, or you may have a board of supervisors or city council, or some other treasurer's offices. I can already think of several sheriff's offices that are going to be on the ballot. There'll be a lot of local elections also.
So everybody has to stay tuned to Cut to the Chase so that they know exactly which elections are coming up. Dr. Wheeler, thank you so much for being on our show today. We appreciate having a doctor in the house, especially one that represents us in the Virginia State Board of Elections, and we thank you for your service.
I thank you for your service, Senator. You are so engaged, and you make sure that your listening audience is also engaged and knowledgeable.
Well, thank you very much. It's a team effort here. And,
It is.
The next thing that I want to talk about is what's going to happen next in the House, because I think a lot of people, for lack of better terminology, are freaking out. Let's just be sophisticated here. Let me tell you what I think could possibly happen here. Dr. Ralph Northam, who I've worked with, he presided over the Senate this past year. The president of the Senate is the lieutenant governor, and so I have worked with Dr. Ralph Northam, and I can tell you as part of his strategy, because now we're looking at a close margin here between both the House now, and the Senate's always been close. We've been 1921 for a while, but now the House, for the first time ever, is going to be close as well. So if I'm Dr. Northam, I'm going to try to cherry pick Republicans from the House and the Senate and tempt them with secretariat seats in his administration. Why? Because now that the margin is so close in the House and the Senate, he's going to try to flip our Republican majorities so that Democrats will be in the majority. Now you say, how's that going to happen? Well, in order to flip the majority in one or both houses, Northam will be dangling the prospect of high-paying and high-ranking government jobs in front of the noses of vulnerable Republican members of the General Assembly. And if any one of them takes such an offer, a special election would be held for their replacement. And you can bet Governor Northam will pick a district he thinks Democrats can win in. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break.
Hey, I'm Kim Warburton, the Executive Director of the Pregnancy Resource Center of Metro Richmond. For over 34 years, the Pregnancy Resource Center of Metro Richmond has been a safe haven and a loving refuge to thousands of young moms and dads of the greater RVA community who need compassionate care and hope in the midst of an unplanned pregnancy. Join us for our 2017 annual gala as we share more about the ways that God is saving lives through this ministry. Stay tuned for this special invitation.
Hi, I'm JJ Jasper, inviting you to join me Thursday night, November the 16th at the Richmond Marriott for the Pregnancy Resource Center of Metro Richmond 2017 Annual Gala. As a morning on-air personality and best-selling author, I know you'll be encouraged and inspired. We'll laugh together. Plus, it's for a great cause, celebrating the important work of PRC in the Richmond area. Find out more at friendsofprcrichmond.org or call 804-673-4150.
You can do all this yourself, or you can call NR Hayes Lawn Care 804-357-3669. Commercial and residential grounds maintenance, mowing and trimming, flower, tree, and shrub planting, snow removal, bush hogging, and more. Because your time is valuable, call NR Hayes Lawn Care at 804-357-3669.
This Sunday morning, from 11 a.m. till noon, you're invited to join the congregation of Community Bainbridge Baptist Church, 1101 Bainbridge Street in Richmond, for their Sunday morning worship service. You'll hear an inspiring message from the pastor, Dr. Mike McCleary. That's this Sunday morning at 11 a.m. on AM 820 WNTW, where you find the answer.
Rates, policy forms, and availability vary by state. I'm 58 years old, married, been working my whole life, got 3 kids done with college and on their own. So, have I scrapped all my life insurance? Heck no. I have more coverage now than ever. When I die, and I know I will, I want my wife to live comfortably without having to worry about money. And I want my kids, and maybe even someday my future grandkids, to have some money so they can start a business or for a down payment on a home. Fact is, there's just no better way to do that for pennies on the dollar than with life insurance. I'm Byron Udell, and I've been talking about this for 30 years. Why? Because it works. If you want to make sure you have life insurance when you die, you have to buy it now while you're alive. Since 1986, AccuQuote has helped hundreds of thousands of people save a fortune on their life insurance. No 3-hour kitchen table face-off either.
Call now, 800-516-2499, 800-516-2499, 800-516-2499. That's 800-516-2499.
Welcome back to the final segment of Cut to the Chase with State Senator Amanda Chase here at your service. And today we are recapping what exactly happened on Tuesday and what's going to happen in the future. And before I continue here, I just want to let you know I just received a text from my aide that Larry Barnett has officially conceded to Delegate Roxanne Robinson. So that's late breaking news, and you heard it first right here on Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. This is why you tune in every week to get the latest information. So, yeah, this could happen. The Democrats would wisely, and a strategy that I understand Governor George Allen used was to pick off those seats where the Democrats think they can win and offer secretarial positions, and they would be given guarantee of 3 years of serving in that secretariat position. So a defection of even one member in the House at this point, or in the Senate, could have disastrous consequences for the ability of the Republican Party to ever recover a meaningful role in Virginia governance going forward. So this is serious stuff here. And why is that? Because without a Republican majority in the Senate, the Democrats will try to gerrymander Republicans right out of their district. That's exactly right. And let me tell you, House members have it rough. They have it rougher than we do in the Senate. In the House, they have to run every 2 years. And, you have to continue to raise money year-round to try to stay in office because it's very expensive to try to run for office and communicate your message to people. The Senate members run every 4 years. We have 2.5 times the workload in the constituents that a member in the House does. But if someone comes along and offers you a 6-figure job, and you compare that to your $18,000 a year job that you currently have, what is the percentage of increase? It could be a real temptation. So, we won't know. I think people are still waiting for the final results Monday just to make sure they're confirmed. And then they'll start making decisions on what's going to happen. But that's kind of what we're looking at. I mean, this is a pretty dire situation. And I am hoping that Republicans stick together and don't give in to the temptation, and that we stand unified so that we keep our majority in both the House and the Senate, so that we can continue to work for the people of Virginia. And there you have it, on Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. So let me tell you, as I mentioned earlier in the show, next week I will be on official Senate business. We will be studying the budget for next year. This coming session is going to be a long 60-day session. Long, and I do mean long. 60 days may not seem like a long time to you, but when you're pulling 15 to 18-hour days, it is long. It's like boot camp. And so that's what we're going to be doing. I'll be speaking at Cafe Couture this coming Saturday morning at 8 a.m. It's sponsored by the GOP. If you're interested in becoming a member, please come. The cost is $15 and includes a continental breakfast. Again, that's Cafe Couture in Midlothian Turnpike. You can Google that. And I'll be there this coming Saturday morning, again at 8 o'clock. So I will see you in a couple weeks. So Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase on November the 30th. I will see you then. Until then.